With Chairwoman Lisa Cupid on Zoom today because the chairwoman is up at Reagan International Airport in Washington, D.C. And Chairwoman, why don't you tell us why you're there and what you're up to?
Thank you, Ross. I am leaving DC to come back to Atlanta after having been here for 2 days with the Cobb Chamber fly-in. And it's an opportunity for us to meet with our elected officials and let them know about our interest in Cobb and get their support.
And I saw some pictures, the county manager's up there with you. She sent me some pictures. You got to meet with some pretty high profile people up there.
Yes, in a state of 159 counties, we had opportunity to meet with both of our senators, which was great. And also some of our other Congress leaders. We met with Carolyn Bordeaux, with Lucy McBath, and with staff of David Scott while we've been up here.
I also saw with you our DOT director, Drew Rassler, and I was initially a little surprised to see him with you on this trip, but then I realized out of any county department, DOT is probably the one that deals with federal agencies the most.
Yes, and this was an important time for DOT. Last night was the anticipated vote on the infrastructure bill, and so there was certainly a lot of interest to see what would happen. Unfortunately, it did not move forward, but a lot of our senators and representatives were able to speak to that measure. And it was important to have Drew in the room, and I'm grateful that he's here.
How important is it to have that face-to-face with these people compared to just exchanging emails with assistants?
Incredibly. It's one thing to see them in passing at events, but it's another thing to be able to show that we're vested in the decisions that they're making on our behalf. And it gave us an opportunity to have some substantive discussion on things that are important to our county. And before I go on, I forgot to give Congressman Loudermilk a shout out, who also met with us.
So what are you going to bring back with you from the time in DC?
One thing I realized is that we cannot be insular as a county. We are directly impacted by decisions that are happening, not just across the metro region at the state level, but at the federal level. So I'm grateful that this board decided to invest in our NACO membership this year. We definitely need to be involved in that organization. NACO stands for National Association of County Officials. It enables us to get involved in how policy is made at the federal level that impacts counties. So we can be on the front end of how certain policy decisions are crafted versus having to react to them. And, I think an ongoing relationship is also important, being involved in the front end, but continuing to weigh in as they're making decisions here so that we can make sure that Cobb County is best positioned for success based on those decisions.
This is the first time you and I have talked since last weekend, obviously, which your inaugural youth commission took place. And I was there for part of those activities, and I was impressed with how engaged those young students were.
You and me both. It was a breath of fresh air. We're coming off a busy week and heading into that session. I didn't know what to expect, but let me tell you, I was absolutely inspired by their level of engagement, their interest, and the way that they connected so readily. Considering the polarization that is taking place across our county, to see these diverse group of young men and women come together the way that they did to look at our county and see how they can contribute just, again, gave me a lot of hope for our future.
And the way the program was structured too this last weekend, that's not the end of it for this group.
Exactly. Based on their feedback, it'll never end. They have some ongoing sessions planned to meet at least 4 times between now and the end of their program. And they also have scheduled activities for them to come together outside of that. And they asked if they could do more. And that again made me just feel excited about not only what we were giving them by way of letting them learn more about the county, but what they saw themselves contributing to us.
Yeah, they asked for all the presentations the departments gave. They wanted copies of it. I'm like, man, this is one engaged group.
It's very interesting. And in fact, the youth commission was that weekend, that Saturday and Sunday. And we had a participant actually come to the Board of Commissioners meeting that Tuesday, which let me know that they were interested in just diving right in.
Speaking of last Tuesday, we did have a BOC meeting. One of the big things that happened was the approval of more ERA money to get assistance out there as we continue to deal with the aftermath of the hopefully waning pandemic. It was an interesting meeting, but that was one of the important things that happened.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. We are happy to continue providing rental assistance to residents that need it most. But also the backdrop of it was it being a very interesting meeting. You know, a lot of opinions shared around the pandemic and around the decisions we're making with our uniform zoning code. And we just have opportunity to make sure that as we get participation from our various residents, that we're being mindful of each other at the same time.
And, that's going to be a message I think you want to make going forward, too.
Yeah, we need to. You know, we're a great county because of the people who are here. They help to make Cobb what it is. And we certainly want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to participate without making people feel uncomfortable by that participation. And so this is a growth opportunity for us, but one that I'm confident that we'll get through.
So you're getting ready to head back to Atlanta, I've only flown once during the pandemic. It's just really a different world, isn't it?
It is. I mean, here I am looking quite undercover. Everyone's in masks, but let me tell you, I'm still shocked by the number of people who are out here flying, which lets me know that things are still getting to some semblance of normal based on where we were just last year when there were very few people traveling. So I'm grateful to be out. This is my first flight since the pandemic, and I have to get reacclimated to the routine, but it felt good to be able to do this today and to be able to join the chamber and meet our congressional leaders here in DC.
And one more thing before I let you get on the plane. And you haven't seen this yet because I know it just came out, but our hotel motel tax figures that come in continue to be up for the last 2 months. In fact, this is the first time this year that the numbers surpassed 2019 levels for the hotel motel tax. So that must tell you that things are slowly getting back to normal.
Yes, I mean, if it's surpassing 2019, that lets you know that people are out. They want to be able to travel and visit places. And I'm glad to see that Cobb has not been left behind when it comes to that, as travel and tourism is one of our major industries here. And so I'm glad to see that's evident back home. It's certainly evident here in this airport.
All right, Chairwoman, thanks for popping on the Zoom with me, and enjoy the flight back.
Thank you. Take care, Ross.